Hey guys, it is Mythomatic. I'm here with Colin, who is also Colin Jofus on Twitter as well as Twitch. He plays Rokan in The King's Men, which you see obviously above. If you have any more questions about what's been going on in my channel, don't hesitate to click this link down here, or type that into your browser and check that out. So, yeah. So without further ado, we're going to try to do some, I'm going to try to interview Rokan and Colin, and we're going to try to go through what we haven't had the chance to record in the last couple of live games.
It'll be a third-person commentary interview.
Exactly.
In character necessarily, but I'll be commenting on what I felt at the time. Or
Yeah,
what I did.
and what has been happening in the eyes of Rokan and also in the eyes of the DM. Addleton is not with us. I believe he's at work, and Mark is not with us because he, I believe, is in two different plays right now. So that's great.
Something else.
Yep. All right. So what we didn't get recorded was the Sophie case episode.
No, we didn't.
Yeah. So if you remember what happened there, before we go into it, we've been doing Myth Voices, which is music's a bit distracting. Myth Voices, which is a program that I have where everybody who is watching can actually request voices for me to use as some of the NPCs, so it can be a lot of fun for you guys to listen to me do stupid impressions for funny voices. The best one, or not the best one, but the first one we have is Creighton is played by Billy Connolly. So you'll hear their officer in charge is always talks like Billy Connolly. And of course it gets crazier towards the more recent episodes when things get a bit dramatic. And we'll get into that in more of these commentaries.
He becomes a real character.
Yeah.
Real emotion.
Which is really cool. Alright, so yeah, the Sophie case. How did that start? Do you remember?
Yeah, I was told to go check her out. I think he had assumed that I was briefed on it, but I sort of just went along with it.
Yeah.
Because Rokan's he's more curious about anything than anything else. But he went and just checked it out, and it just turned out to be this little girl. That was it.
Yeah.
But obviously she had a secret.
Absolutely. This little girl, I guess, Creighton explained it as she had lost her parents weeks before, and she seemed to be fine with it, which is a little weird. She's always reading. As a 7-year-old girl, that's weird to not show as many emotions as she does, and that she seems to be distracted in her books. And they suspected sorcery, which is, of course, illegal in Evervale. So it was Rokan's job to check her out.
I mean, it's illegal in all of Hearth.
In all of Hearth,
what
that's
they
true.
can do, but they can't get a grasp on everything.
Exactly.
They try.
We tried.
Yeah, so I checked it out, and she had been reading from these witchcraft books, and she had some sort of powers. I don't know. Rokan didn't know because he doesn't know much about magic. As I said, he was more curious, but it seemed as though she had some sort of power that could bring these creatures. She would dictate creatures from pages, and then they would come to life. So he figured out that it was her father that was had magic blood,
Yes.
and her mother, of course, was probably deciding whether or not to turn him in, because it's just kind of a stigma in the world that magic is evil and wrong. So even though it really has no moral code, it's just what it is. It's magic, but some people just feel that it is. Rokan, more of a true neutral character. He's more just curious about it. So she's just reading these books, and she brought a creature to life. I don't remember. It was more of like a centipede.
Yeah, it was like a worm. Yeah, it was 2 worms that they're called piercers, and they crawl to the ceiling, and then they harden themselves, kind of like Metapod, and then they drop from the ceiling onto their prey.
And so she just started reading, and
you guys were downstairs at the time.
Yeah, we were downstairs, and I went up and I inspected, and there was this like ring around
her summoning circle.
Her bed. Yeah, it was a summoning circle around her bed, and so I'm checking it out, and she comes upstairs, just wandering up, and I have to kind of cover my ass that I'm kind of just wandering, because I don't want to frighten her or anything. She's just a girl, and as bloodlust as Rokan is, it's just an innocent person. It has nothing to do with his instinct or anything like that. So he's just trying to protect her, and he also doesn't know if she's dangerous or not. So he didn't want to set anything off. So he had to turn him killing these creatures into like a game for her. So she didn't like freak out or anything like that. He turned it into a game for her.
So we saw a definite character change in Rokan. Usually we saw him up to this point as a sarcastic hater of most things except himself. And then when he met Sophie, you could definitely see he tried to relate with her, relate to a child, and try to give some sort of fatherly, I guess.
Well, I think there's some kind of protective instinct in him, and that he's been, his whole family and everything has been destroyed from him, and he's seen what the grasp is capable of, and he's almost convinced himself that magic is wrong and he shouldn't be. So he was definitely a victim of that kind of mindset. But now that he's seeing other kind of forces stand up to the suppression of magic, he's more and more curious about why it's being suppressed. So anytime he sees something that has to do with magic, he's getting more and more apt to be open to it.
Exactly.
Even though it's totally against what he's supposed to be doing.
Which is not uncommon for Mark, considering he...
Rokan.
I'm sorry, Rokan, considering he has constantly always going against what he's been told. That's what they call it.
But and he's also not a magic user, so it's more fascinating to him to understand like things like alchemy or enchanted weapons and stuff like that, because he doesn't have the natural ability to use willpower. So
yeah, exactly.
It's something so unattainable, and he's grown up like a savage, so it's just something that he's interested in.
Yeah, and so that's pretty much where we left it from that campaign, or that session. That was a rather short one.
Yeah.
You kind of knew this, you found out the story about Sophie, and then you kind of left it, and you were going to go check up on her later.
Yeah, I covered it up.
Yeah.
When I was asked about it, I just said, I don't see anything suspicious at all.
So again, Mark is covering up. I'm sorry, you say Mark. Rokan is covering up what he's investigating. And we've seen the same thing with Mark as well. They're both kind of finding these cool things out, these nuggets about Hearth and Evervale, but they keep just hiding it from the authorities, who they are. So instead of doing their job, they're kind of not. So he got paid 100 gold for that easy thing. And then the next week, I believe we had a group quest that we just botched. We just like whatever, that didn't work. Because that night, I guess all of our minds weren't in the right spot. We just weren't really. It was just too much was happening. Too many people, too many cooks in the kitchen. So we haven't had a second chance to get. I think it was 4 players, 5 altogether.
Right. I know. I like it better when it's 3, or even 2.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Is,
Yeah, me too.
because that way, it gives you more chance to play rather than having to
And then wait for them.
Oh my God, wait, yeah.
Yeah. So,
And then you have too many brains, like you're saying.
yeah.